Well, good day, everyone. We are here at the Rose Hills Cemetery in Whittier, California. This is one of the largest cemeteries in the United States, if not the largest. It spans 1,400 acres, 32 miles of roadway. Actually, the person we're going to visit is right near the entrance, gate 1, so we didn't have to drive very far. So anyway, hello everyone. There's quite a few famous people buried here. Among them, the most well-known names are probably Tommy Lasorda, the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball manager and coach, and of course there was Jack Larson. You old-timers would remember Jack Larson as Jimmy Olsen from the 1950s TV series The Adventures of Superman. They're buried much further up. But we are here in the Garden of Meditation, and we're going to visit what I consider to be two very righteous and holy people. The Reverend Richard Wurmbrand and his beautiful wife, Sabina. They're buried right over there. We're going to go to their grave. Richard Wurmbrand apparently his birth name was Nicolae Ionescu, born March 24th, 1909. He was a Jewish by birth and upbringing. He studied under the Communist Party in Russia after the Russian Revolution of 1917. He went to Moscow and became an atheist and a communist, but he came back to Romania, his home country, and became a born-again Christian. So he went from Jewish to atheist, communist, to born-again Christian in 1936. He then married Sabina Wurmbrand. You'll remember this guy, especially. He authored 18 books in English and some others in Romanian. Most famous for his 1967 book, T0rtured For Christ. Yes, this is the guy. So let's take a walk to his grave. You see, here's the thing. They lived under the Nazis for a while. The Nazis had a brief reign of terror, some 8 or 10 years. And then, after 1945, the Soviet communists took over. This is his grave right here. He's buried next to his wife, Sabina. Somebody left flowers here. Anyway, that's him. Loving father and husband. He's got here on a stone, "Why seek ye the living among the dead?" Born in Bucharest, Romania. He took a stand against the communists. He, at that time, was ordained an Anglican priest and later on a Lutheran minister. And he was pastoring a church. But when the communists came into Romania, they gathered all the leaders of the church together and basically offered them what you might call an olive branch of peace. Of course, it wasn't any olive branch of peace at all. They were hoping that the church leaders would not make trouble, so that they would allow the Christians to go to the church, to mass, to whatever, while the communists basically called the shots. Well, Richard, at the time, and his wife was in favor of this, he made a public statement live on the air. The meeting was being broadcast live. I guess at that time they had no way to stop a person. They had no, time gap between speaking and broadcasting. I guess that was later. So his words were carried out live over the air. He was saying that although he loves the communists, he cannot support their terms. that we serve Jesus Christ, we don't serve Marx, we don't serve Lenin. They hustled him out of the building, and he and his wife left. It wasn't long after that that he was arrested. He was put into confinement for 3 years, solitary confinement, where he was tortured. I can't speak on YouTube of the things they used to do to him because, you know, YouTube is YouTube. I don't want them yanking this video. But you can read for yourself, Tortured for Christ. It's a very heartbreaking thing. His wife also, Richard was arrested in 1948. 48. His wife, less than 3 years later, was arrested in 1950, and she was put into forced labor, working on a canal. They did horrible things to him. 14 years in 9 prisons, 3 years in solitary confinement, but 14 years. He was finally released. An international group bought his freedom for about $10,000. The communists made out like a bandit with that, because normally they were charging maybe $1,000 or less. So they charged $10,000. They released him. He was granted amnesty in Norway and in Britain. He eventually found his way to the United States. He wanted to stay in Romania and keep working, but his fellow believers said, no, it's best that you get out to the United States and other free areas and tell our story and raise international awareness. So he did, he and his wife and his son. You see, when he and his wife were arrested, they left their little child as an orphan. And they were so afraid that perhaps he was the child Mihai, who is still alive today. He goes by Michael, but they were afraid that Michael would be an atheist, a communist when they got out of prison. He wasn't. He was still a believer. And so the 3 of them came here to the United States. They actually came here to Southern California. And, here they died. The miracle is that Reverend Wurmbrand lived until 90 years old. After all those horrible things that he went through in prison, he lived. He even caught tuberculosis. And the reason he survived that is because another prisoner gave Reverend Wurmbrand the medicine to overcome the tuberculosis. So that prisoner died for Reverend Wurmbrand. Quite a story, quite a story. I'm going to try to post a link to the film that was made about him in 2018. I'll see if I can do that. This right here is his beautiful wife, Sabina. So far, God has helped me. She's quoting from 1 Samuel, where Samuel constructed a monument after winning battles with the Philistines, and Samuel called it Ebenezer, meaning so far has God helped us. And she was a woman of faith. It was because of her that Reverend Richard Wurmbrand was able to maintain his faith and risk getting arrested. So rest in peace, Sabina and Richard Wurmbrand. Their son Michael is still alive. They had started a ministry called the Voice of the Martyrs, but Michael says that he separated from them. There were apparently some financial improprieties. But anyway, that was originally started by Richard and Sabina Wurmbrand. So rest in peace to both of them. It was because of them that the believers in communist bloc countries in the 20th century had a chance to be heard.